Howdy. What's going on? This is Cam's astrology. This is going to be the moon in Taurus in the third house. And so let's get right into it. Um, with this placement, what thing that jumped out to me is our artist. Somebody involved with or somebody who uses their ability to express themselves, the fun nature in them, the intelligence in them, um, their hobbies. They take their hobbies and and communicate with it, use it to communicate. Because Cancer's in the fifth house now. If we use in whole house systems, Cancer's in the fifth house. So Moon is in the third house, and so um, everything about the third house comes into the fifth house via the moon. Um, but I mean, that's just one thing that jumped out to me, like because that's when I say artist, I mean you could be any kind of artist, but just if you don't want to use the word artist, it's somebody who takes their um, takes their hobby and communicates with it, or they use their hobby to make connections with people, mental connections, via the mind. And then because it's the moon, especially the mind, like these people use their emotions and their thinking to communicate their hobbies. Perfect, beautiful, or communicate um, what they're feeling, they use it to express themselves. They use their thoughts and their feelings to express themselves in a very stable, stable way. Like if this is a art teacher, um, it's a good one. An art teacher who if you're really into arts, if you're like reading it, and if you're like in a lecture or you're in a class, this you it could be a woman, it could be a man, but when they're teaching, they do it with like they know how they do it in a way that's alluring. They do it in a way that's appeasing, appealing, uh, that's appealing to people. They do it's a very beautiful way. Um, they make sure they hit on everything while they're teaching you, and it's in a way that like you don't feel like you're in a class. You feel like you just like someone's expressing themselves to you. It could be, I mean, you could, that could be anybody. But that's a good example for like a teacher. Mentally, um, you 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 are always, if you are not communicating, you're always thinking about um, communicating. Actually, you do communicate because it's a communication house, and these people are not strangers to communicating their feelings. Um, they actually, um, in a way, it's like you have to do this. Like people, um, in order to express themselves and express their personality, who they are, the genius in us. I like to call the fifth house, the intellect. Um, these people have to communicate. They have to use communication to do it. Um, um, a lot of communication. A lot of these things happens with the siblings. Like somebody like this could have a YouTube channel with siblings, because the third house is siblings, or just some kind of involvement with siblings. Like when it comes to um, fun for these people, when it comes to their hobbies, their siblings are somehow involved with it, or their neighbors or their community. Somehow it it affects the relationship with the sibling, for better or worse. Like, it might make you guys closer or further apart. That's another story. But somehow, siblings comes into play when you are self-expressive, when you are dealing with children. Like, there's another placement for people who um, whenever they're in the kitty nature in us, which is also the fifth house, that comes out when they're around siblings. The when I say kitty nature, I don't mean like naive and in a bad sense, like you don't think things through. I mean that part of us that is just wants to just go wild. You know how you got the canvas and you just draw and draw and your creativity just run nuts. That's the fifth house. And that comes out a lot when these people are out in the community, when they are out in the public. It could be the public, but in their community, because the third house is your community, your immediate environment right outside of your home, or when you're involved with neighbors. Like when you go with your neighbor, when you go to a neighbor's house, it like your neighborhood could be filled with a lot of kids. Like you always seeing kids or somewhere, and you always whether you say something, and it's probably going to be something you say or not. It could be because third house is also nonverbal communication. There's a connection with children, and you build connections with children. Like these people are, they when they communicate in a lot of ways. It's very self-expressive. It's almost childlike in that way I was talking about, that fifth house way, where like, man, their intelligence, they just can take them anywhere, all over the place. That's why I said artists when I first started, because artists, they have to be self-expressive, right? That's a big part of it. That's like the main part of it, right? Um, uh, so yeah, um, um, Moon in third house in Taurus aspects the ninth house. So remember, because of what's going on, wherever the planet sits, the aspects is being affected. So everything I talked about, you know, it ninth house things are being affected. Like these people, when they communicate and they're being self-expressive, somehow they're expanding their horizon. That gets affected. It could be involved when these things, when they communicate, when they're self-expressive, when they use their thoughts and express themselves through communication. It could be to other cultures. It could be just expansion. It could be to travel, whether it's physical travel or mental travel. That's ninth house things. It's just travel. A lot of people don't know that about the ninth house. Um, your emotions they come through when you are, again, when you're self-expressive in your communication and you're doing it in a very persevering way. Like when you trying to get when these people, like when they get a point across, for example, your emotions stabilize. It comes through when you can persevere. Like when you have to keep at it to get your point across, even if you have to take have to take a break in what you're saying, or if you're writing a book. Um, but perseverance, you have to do it, and they do it. Emotions come through when they emotions are linked to communicating beautifully, naturally, um, practically, um, and they have it's usually of a It's a very, just a natural way in it that these people communicate. Um, and through which you can do that, through the effectiveness through which you can do that or not, that'll bring the peace of mind. The better you are, the better you get at expressing yourself through your thoughts, expressing your being self-expressive by using your thoughts and your feelings, and finding a way to communicate it to people where everybody can understand it. That's where the mind will be stable. That's where you'll be at peace. Thank you.